What's going on, Card Family? Happy Monday. No. Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody enjoyed an absolute shootout last night between Kansas City and the Rams. It was a hell of a game. Um, so tonight, I've been working on picking up some more Hall of Fame autos, and I wanted to show them tonight. Um, One thing I wanted to say before I show these, I've got the LT in the background. This is out of Flawless, and that's numbered to 15. It's my on card LT Auto Hall of Famer. I already had that one, but just displaying that one with this collection. Um, so some of our more judgmental members of the card family, they know who they are. I was talking to some of them last night, and they like to call me names. They like to pigeonhole me into a category and call me, like Mr. Donruss or Donruss King or Retail King or something like that. And I will say, I do enjoy buying retail and opening retail for the fun of it because I don't like spending huge money on hobby boxes because I like to spend money on individual cards, and I love a brick of one touches. It's an awesome feeling. So, a lot of times I do spend money on retail, but I'm out trying to buy individual cards that, I feel like I could have spent just as much money and gotten a card I didn't want in a hobby box. Whereas I can spend the same amount of money and get cards I do want just one at a time. So I don't like being labeled like I'm Mr. Retail. I really collect, a lot of higher end, nicer stuff. So that's some of the stuff I want to show today. And you guys know who you are that made fun of me and hurt my feelings and everything. So let's get it started. And oddly enough, so this is a Hall of Fame video, but I'm going to start it with a guy that is not in the Hall of Fame that I think is going to get in soon enough. So we're going to start out with this first one. This is out of 16 Flawless. And this is a Roger Craig, who has a beautiful auto, I want to add, out of 10, Premium Ink. And so the thing about Roger Craig, and he's kind of an underrated guy throughout history, and don't know how many people are old enough to have seen his career. First of all, he's a three-time Super Bowl winner. And the type of backs that we see today, especially guys like LT, Marshall Faulk, the way backs are used today, Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Saquon Barkley, Craig was the prototype for this type of back and the prototype offense for where the NFL is going now and games like we watched last night. Craig was the first running back to run for 1,000 yards in a season and receive for 1,000 yards in a season. He was the first running back with 90 catches in a single season. Craig went to the Pro Bowl as a fullback and later as a halfback. So he played both positions throughout his career. Bill Walsh, legendary coach of the 49ers, has said, if we ran him more, he would have ran for a lot more yards, but that's not the way I think he's 44th all time NFL rushing, but he wasn't used in that way. He was used the same way like a guy like Kareem Hunt is used now. So he was a total yards guy, and he was, like I say, prototype for the way backs are used today. So he has exhausted his eligibility for a Hall of Fame as a modern era candidate. It was his final year, was this past year. So now he'll move to the seniors committee. And I think the seniors committee will recognize the influence that this dude had on the game. And, I think one of the things with Craig is playing on a team with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, Hall of Famers that are on that team. Sometimes guys like Craig are overlooked, but just had a huge influence on the game and the way that it is played now. And while I was picking that up, I was also able to pick up and 84 tops, Roger Craig rookie, PSA 8. I thought it'd be cool to pick up, PSA graded cards of some of these autos that I get. I haven't done it for all of them, but I was able to do it for Craig. I don't normally say what I paid, but I paid $2 for this card, for this. So I grabbed it. So there's Craig. Second, let's go with a receiver. And another guy, pretty underrated. Not an expensive auto. James Lofton, Hall of Fame wide receiver. He spent most of his career in Green Bay. This one is also out of Flawless. I think this is 16 also. Yep, 16 Flawless. On card, James Lofton, Hall of Fame 03. Flawless greats. I love the little Bills logo up here. Numbered 7 out of 10. Lofton spent most of his career in Green Bay. I think he went to the Raiders for a couple years and then kind of experienced a rebirth in Buffalo towards the tail end of his career. Super underrated receiver, a burner. When Lofton retired, he retired with 14,004 receiving yards, which was at the time the NFL record for receiving yards. He was the oldest receiver at the time in 1991 to receive for 1,000 yards. So he was 35 years old. This was the resurgence year with Buffalo, had over 1,000 yards receiving. And he was the first player with a touchdown in all three decades. So he had a touchdown in the 70s, a touchdown in the 80s, and a touchdown in the 90s. He is currently 12th all-time NFL receiving yards, and he is a Hall of Famer. Cool, James Lofton. The only thing about this card, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of smudging on the auto right there, but otherwise, gorgeous blue ink on-card auto. Very nice card. All right, what we got next? Let's run with, how about a Raider, and run with another receiver. Another on card. This is out of 17 Flawless, first round gems. I got a hankering to try and collect this entire first round gems set. It'll be tough. It's doable. Some of the quarterbacks in this set are super pricey, but this might be a bucket list thing to try and get all the first round gems cards from 17 Flawless. So this one's numbered out of 20. Is it Tim Brown on card auto? Again, a beautiful blue. Spent his pretty much his entire career with the Raiders. I think he might have gotten a year with Tampa. If you didn't watch Tim Brown, I did. Tim Brown was one of my favorite receivers. Not necessarily when I was a kid, but in my 20s. Tim Brown, when he came into the league, first of all, he played at Notre Dame, so instant notoriety. He was a great receiver, punt returner. He was the first wide receiver to win the Heisman Trophy. So he came into the league with huge hype. Took him a couple years to warm up in the NFL, but once he figured it out and got it, and I think it's once the Raiders started utilizing him, 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's currently 7th all-time in receiving yards. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. So there's another Hall of Famer. All right, where are we going to go? Another Heisman Trophy winner and Hall of Famer, and not the greatest auto, as you can see, and all of his autos look like this. Again, out of Flawless, another first-round gems. This is 2017 Flawless, numbered 5 out of 10. Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen won the Hall of Fame, or won the Heisman Trophy at USC. And I'm just reading here, he was the 3rd running back selected in the 82 draft, 10th overall. I'm going to have to kind of look and see which 2 backs. Okay, Darren Nelson and Gerald Riggs, both were good backs. Surprised either one of them went before him. So Marcus Allen, if you ever get a chance to watch his A Football Life story, I definitely encourage you to do that. He kind of got doghoused when he was with the Raiders. He was a phenomenon when he first came into the league. He had a huge, like 70 something yard touchdown run in the Super Bowl in '83 versus the Redskins, where he was going one way and then looped around and he broke off like a 70 something yard touchdown. He ran for 191 yards and 2 TDs in the Super Bowl, which that 191 at that time was a record for rushing in the Super Bowl. But he ended up in Al Davis's doghouse and spent a couple years with the Raiders where they were barely using him. Raiders, they had Bo Jackson too, and they were, I guess, Allen, he just found his way into the doghouse. And uh, a lot of people thought his career was over. He ends up going to the Chiefs, experienced a resurrection. Man, he probably left, with the under usage, he probably left a couple thousand yards on the field. As it is, he ran for over 12,000 yards, and he's 14th all time uh, rushing in NFL history. Which I'm telling you, the way the league's going now, with less and less of these volume runners, I think guys that are in this top 15 tier are going to stick for a while. You've got two or three backs, that might approach them that are going to get the usage, but the game just isn't what it was even 5 years ago. So I think we're going to see less and less backs approaching, 11, 12,000 yards. All right, here's the last pickup. And so this guy is really, Roger Craig laid the groundwork for guys like LT, and really Marcus Allen was kind of a Roger Craig too. He was super versatile. Uh, but here's Roger Craig on crack. This is Marcus Allen, and this is, I'm sorry, Marshall Faulk. And this is out of 17 flawless retired numbers. You can see it's the gold foil here. On card, blue ink auto, numbered 4 out of 5. Marshall Faulk. I'm sure most people got a pretty good understanding of who Marshall Faulk is and what his career embodied, but he's in 12 seasons just one of the most dynamic running backs I've ever seen touch the field. He's actually only 12th all time rushing in 12 years. Remember, 12,279 yards. He was the second 1,000 guy. So there was your first guy to run for 1,000, receive for 1,000. There's your second. 2,000 scrimmage yards, 4 straight years. 1,000 yards, 7 out of his first 8 years. Of course, he was drafted by the Colts and ended up getting traded to the Rams, where he was an integral member of that greatest show on turf offense. So I think my goal with these is I want to get, I want to have all the Hall of Fame running backs, or like get the top 20 leading rushers. And I want to go after all of these first round gems cards. Hell, I just want to collect Hall of Famers. And that's where I'm kind of going with my collection when I'm doing non-Cowboys. I do have some flawless Cowboys that I could put with these, but I just wanted to show my non-Cowboy pickups, and just, flawless just has some absolutely beautiful on-card autos if you can ever pick these up. And I'm telling you, if you shop around for these, you can get them at pretty reasonable prices. I did all right on this group of cards that I picked up. So anyhow, sorry if the video's so long. Just wanted to show all these cards, really take the time to talk about the impact that each one of these guys had on the game. And really just, listen, I love retail. I love opening stuff in the car, but it's really just for fun. It scratches that itch. I don't want to go spend $200 on a hobby box because I'm not going to, chances are I'm not going to pull that, and, I can go buy this for a lot less than the hobby box is. So that's kind of what my niche is. I'm not a retail guy. Hell, a year ago, I swore off retail. Uh, but, you got to have some fun. So anyhow, appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for sharing. Keep it real. I'm out.